Good evening, everybody. I am student meteorologist Jake Taylor.
I am student meteorologist Melanie Steinberg.
Welcome to this edition of FSU Weather. Today we've had a pretty warm one out there today. Not much going on in terms of precipitation.
Yeah, we weren't seeing a lot of rain, but Tropical Storm Odile is going to be causing a lot of rain.
Oh yeah, 3 to 6 inches to all the way from the Oklahoma to Texas to Kansas is expected to see some kind of precipitation up to 3 to 6 inches, right?
Yeah, and they're actually in a really extreme drought right now, so the rain for that area is some much needed rain that they are needing to see.
It's kind of a double whammy though, because the soil has not, it's drought, so the soil's not going to accept the rain as well. It could lead to issues with the harvest and certain things coming up seasonally.
Yeah, and also there's a chance for some flooding even potentially, so we're going to have to watch out for that.
Yeah, when the soil just hasn't accepted water in a long time, it's hard to make it saturated in a reasonable amount of time, so you can have flooding instances a lot more easily.
Yeah, thankfully we're not going to be seeing any of that here though, so it's just in the south. And
well, it's always hard to predict because when you say this state will see rain, it's just such a wide storm that's how you have to approach it. But for now, we're actually going to take things over to Braden. He's going to take a look at the overview for us for the show.
Absolutely, guys, and a great show in store we absolutely do have. Check out your satellite and radar real quick. Rain moving into central and south Florida. We are out of the woods for the next couple days, which is going to be really nice. Stay tuned to your forecast for that. They were talking about tropical storm or tropical depression now, Odile, out in Arizona and New Mexico, bringing tons of rain and flooding. I will be back for your tropical segment to talk about that later, but the rain is gone for now, which is good. This is what we're looking for. We've had rain, gloomy days the last couple of days, so it's a great day to go out. The next couple of days will be quite good. A clear Clemson weekend, which is going to be great. Lows getting into the upper 60s, so we are getting closer and closer to fall as the days go by. 69 tonight, a decent night, but make sure you're watching for some stray showers. You might get some. Call it about a 10% chance of rain. Tomorrow, if you want to know about tomorrow, happy Thursday. It's going to be a gorgeous day, but if you want to know how hot it's going to be, we will talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But Jake, Melanie, I know you guys have some weather history. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Come on, Braden. How are you going to taunt us by not showing us those numbers? I mean,
yeah,
putting the
come on, Braden.
question mark up like that on purpose. But in terms of weather history, the 3 to 6 inches of rain we mentioned with the tropical storm, Concord, New Hampshire had almost 6 inches of rainfall in 24 hours in 1932.
Yeah, and that was actually their record. That's still their record for the highest amount of rainfall that they have seen in a period of 24 hours.
Yeah, in 1965, a storm produced heavy snow all across parts of Wyoming, 23 inches in some isolated cases.
Wow, and I know in Lander they had at least 20.7 inches. And also in 1998, on this day, there was actually a tornado in San Antonio, Texas.
Wow, so I heard actually about a rotation, something going on over on the east side of Florida while we're talking about rotation. Not quite as serious as a tornado, it was a water spout, but for the time being, we're actually going to take a local look at things with Rebecca.
Good evening, Tallahassee. We had a gorgeous day today, looking at highs in the lower 90s with 92. It's still a little bit above average, but we've been seeing increasingly high temperatures throughout the past couple weeks, so this is actually kind of a little bit of a relief. Low 71, still a little bit above average, but once again, a lot lower than what we've been seeing. Current temperatures in the Big Bend region, we have 89 here in Tallahassee, little cooler down in Carabel with 84, and in Monticello, you're sitting at 90 degrees. Current winds, you see that sea breeze coming off the coast in Apalachicola and Carabel as well. You can also see the winds that are associated with a stationary front that I'm going to be talking about later on. Water vapor, it's been very moist throughout the past couple days. You can see with the green indicated right here, that is all the high content of moisture. And as the day moved on today, we had that dry air move in. It's basically a transition day today from the moisture we've been having the past couple days to the dry air we'll be seeing throughout the rest of the week. Local radar, that sea breeze right here impacting Tallahassee with those scattered showers. Looking at the big picture, there's that stationary front I was talking about with the winds coming out from the northwest, clear by that stationary front. As that stationary front continues to move and turns into a cold front, we're going to see those cooler temperatures. And by cooler, I really only mean the upper 80s, which is still cooler than what we've been seeing. And as that cold front continues to move down towards Tampa, you can see those clear skies roll in, and that is going to be perfect for the game day weekend. Now, as we see the beach forecast, it hasn't been great to go to the beach lately, but with the drier air moving in, it is actually going to be a really great beach day tomorrow. Winds from the northwest at 5 knots. Surf, if you want to surf, probably not going to get those waves, but you will definitely have a great day just laying out in the sun on the sand. Don't have to worry about those waves going over your head, because that happens to me all the time. The UV index, 11, really, really high. If you're going to go out, you definitely want to bring that sunscreen. Tonight's forecast, looking to hit 69 here in Tallahassee, 70 in the lower 70s closer to the coast due to the warmer air moving from the Gulf. Tomorrow's forecast, 90 degrees in Tallahassee, 91 in Monticello, lower 80s to our northern counties and lower 90s to the counties that we're in. 7-day forecast, looking at a beautiful week ahead of us. We have lower 90s tomorrow and Friday, and when we hit Saturday, we're going to be in those upper 80s for the Clemson game. 10% chance of rain, but that's early in the day. For nighttime, it's going to be perfect for perfect weather, 67 by the end of the night. Sunday through Monday, pretty much 20% chance of rain, not too bad. Those rain chances increase Tuesday to Wednesday. But let's take it out to Connor and see what we have going on in the rest of the Sunshine State.
Yeah, and thank you, Rebecca. So maybe get some of those drier conditions into here. That would be really nice. But as we take a look around to our southeast, to our west, do see those warmer temperatures. But as Rebecca was just saying, just to our northwest, we do see those 70s and those lower 80s. But unfortunately, here in Tallahassee and towards the Atlanta area, it's still looking at those mid to upper 80s in this right now. So current winds out there, we're seeing some of those about 5 to 10 miles an hour. From this there's a high pressure system located here in the Gulf, and that is bringing in some of that flow from the south. So that is helping to bring in some of that southerly flow, and the humidity is lowering though due to that stationary front just kind of sitting on top of us right now. But it will push down to our south as we do move into the next couple of days. Now, relative humidity right now, we are sitting at a 56% humidity, but look at those just north, the 40s, lower 40s, which at this time of the year, maybe feel a little hint of fall in the air, but those 40s and lower 50s relative humidities may push into our area as we do see that stationary front move to our south once it becomes a cold front. But it doesn't look at this point in time that we're really going to see those fall fronts, and I will be talking a little bit more about that on the desk later in the show. Now, our water vapor does hint out that drier air, as I just mentioned, in these oranges and those reds, pushing into the Tallahassee region and into the southeast, which is nice, making it feel a little bit more like fall, and all that green and that moisture to our south is pushing down towards the Orlando and Miami area down in the southern Florida regions. Now, as we do move out to the satellite and radar, we see all that rain and that convection, and the white is that cloud cover that is covering the lower part of the state. But here in Tallahassee, just some popcorn shower and thunderstorms, but to our north, luckily not any right here right now. We'll have to watch to see if we do. Not anticipating much in terms of rainfall, though, tonight. Now, as I mentioned tonight, we might see that dry air push in and help lower our tonight's lows to the upper 60s, which after being in the mid 70s for a couple of months, it might feel a little nice out there, a little bit more like fall. Not as cool as our friends up there in Atlanta, though, at this time. And now tomorrow it's going to be another warm one. It was a hot one today, 93, but hopefully we'll get some relief. 91 there in Orlando and mid to upper 80s there in Montgomery and Atlanta. Now we're going to send it back to the desk to see what other headlines we have in the weather world.
All right, thanks, Connor. And we're actually going to send it back to you in just a second with a look at the national. But we're going to take a look briefly at some headlines. There's actually a frost threat going on in the Northeast, extending from Canada all the way down to Boston tonight.
Yeah, that's actually going to be taking place tonight into Friday morning. And some of the temperatures, they're expected to get into 30s and even in the rural areas into the 20s. We were just talking about August where we had a record high in terms of heat, the high temperatures, and now we're talking about frost and freezing warnings already with several areas in Canada, including Toronto, facing possible record lows. That's crazy, especially for this time of the year. I mean...
Well, then we could flip it over to the Cleveland area. They have a game against the Baltimore Ravens coming up this weekend. They're going to be seeing possible record high temperatures. So that's pretty crazy when you look at the contrast there.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. But now we're going to take it out to some more national with Connor.
And thanks, guys. Hey, it looks like I just saw you. And come back to the national outlook. So as you guys were just saying, we do have some of those cooler temperatures down towards the New Mexico, Arizona region, actually due to Hurricane Odile. If you do remember that is pushing into their region. So they are worried about flooding potential. But as we do look to our east, we see that this trough here in the east is helping to produce some cooler temperatures, upper to 60s to even the 77-degree mark there in the DC area. But again, to our south, we're still feeling like summertime here into the mid to upper 80s, even approaching 90 degrees here in the Big Bend region. Now, if we look into our national satellite and radar, we do see all this moisture associated with former Hurricane Odile pushing into the Albuquerque region. But we do see also some of this moisture push into the Texas region. But across the Northeast into the Midwest, that cold front, those fronts that have moved through have been able to produce some beautiful days. A little chilly for my taste, but some nice fall conditions for sure. Now, the rainfall since midnight, I thought it was interesting that with this rainfall right now in Albuquerque and into Phoenix hasn't been that extensive at this point, but we are expecting more. Some areas could receive 3 to 5 inches of rain. So flooding potential is high in those regions, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But across the rest of the country, looking pretty dry, a little bit more moist here in Florida, but we would expect that this time of year with the moisture still lingering and still having those afternoon summer-like thunderstorms. Now we zoom in a little bit more closer to home. We can see that this front that is pushing through, bring that cloud line, just pushing to ourselves, giving us a little bit drier, a lot drier conditions as you remember yesterday. Received a lot of rainfall, and luckily that has all pushed to our south, so sitting calm and dry here into the Panhandle and the capital city area. Now we take a wider view of the area, we can see the Pacific Northwest getting influenced by this Pacific moisture, so some rain over in this area in Oregon into Washington, and then again that moisture from the south is moving up from post-Hurricane Odile in the East Pacific, giving that New Mexico and Arizona those rains that I have talked about just previously. Now our satellite and radar is showing all that moisture here, a little zoomed in look to the Pacific Northwest where those rainfall rates will be higher, but not too bad for this time of year. I know in California and the northern part of California really needing that rain. But here's the big weather story for the next couple of days is to see how much rainfall the New Mexico and Arizona states can get. So we're gonna have to watch. You can see the circulation right here as it does push to our northeast. So we will see over the next couple of days how much rainfall they actually do receive. Now tonight's forecast, we're looking at pretty cool up into the northeast. Even saw some potential frost up there later in the week. And then down here we do see upper 60s. So that should be nice for tonight and into tomorrow. Now tomorrow's forecast very similar to today. We're gonna have warm temperatures down to our south and then cooler ones to our north. But now we head back to Jake and to Melissa. We're going to see what kind of temperatures and stuff they will be seeing in the local.
We're actually going to be taking it to a local, and this is just your weather headlines for the next week. For now, the rain is gone, so that is a good sign. It's going to be returning next week, but we don't have to worry about that till later in the week. And we're looking good for our Clemson game weekend on Saturday. It's going to be a clear weekend. We're going to be seeing sunny skies with a minimal chance of rain, so it's going to be a great game day. Currently, though, we're only sitting at 89 in Tallahassee, 86 up in Bainbridge, 82 in Wilma. So across the Big Bend, we're seeing those high 80s and low 90s. And the current heat index, we're sitting at 96. Now, the heat index is basically how it feels when you walk outside your door. So even though our temperature was in the 80s, all that humidity we saw today, it made it feel like we were sitting at 96. And taking a look at our satellite and radar, you can see today we had a mostly clear day. We had some few scattered clouds in the morning, but as the day progressed, those quickly moved on out of our area. And taking a look nationally, these are this mid and South Florida is just getting pummeled by rain right now, but that's going to be moving out of the area. And for a big picture, we have this stationary front sitting over us, and that's just keeping our skies clear. And as we move into tomorrow morning, we're going to be seeing this backdoor cold front, and it's going to be making our temperatures slightly cooler. Now, when I say cooler, it's not going to be those winter temperatures. It's just going to be dropping slightly into the 80s, so cooler compared to what we have been seeing. And as we move into Friday, the cold front is going to move slightly to the south, and that is just going to be leaving us with clear and sunny skies with minimal chances of rain. And then looking at tonight, we're going to actually be hitting 69. It's going to be a decent night, but there is a chance for a stray shower. But don't let that cancel your nighttime plans because we are only sitting at 10%. And looking at tomorrow, we're going to be reaching a high of 92. Now, as we progress into the week, the water vapor imagery that we saw before, our humidity is going to start to go down, which is good because say we had a very humid day. But again, for tomorrow, it's going to be a gorgeous day. Happy Thursday. So get out, enjoy Landis, and enjoy being on campus. And then for our Saturday versus Clemson, we're sitting at a 10%. So that's just the chance for a pop-up shower, but it's not going to be anything major. We're going to be dropping into the high 80s, and our lows are going to be getting into the high 60s. But next week, we are going to be picking up those rain chances. But now let's take it to the desk with Becca and Connor.
And thanks, Melanie. Yeah, so all this talk about stationary fronts, cold fronts, warm fronts, what do they mean? What do they mean?
I mean, a stationary front is just a front that barely moves, and it's normally caused by a cold front.
That's right, and we thought it'd be a good idea to talk a little bit more about these fronts that we've, we talk about them every day in our meteorology classes.
We definitely do.
Many people don't know the difference between a stationary front and a cold front, so it's kind of good things to know.
Yeah, it definitely is because
weather
we see
education.
them. Yeah, we see them quite often these days on just throughout our daily weather.
It's very true, and right now, as Becca just mentioned, we do have that stationary front that's kind of affecting our weather right now.
We definitely do. There's one that's actually sitting right on top of us, which is why we're feeling the drier air coming through. They're normally caused by low pressure, which is what we've been seeing the past couple days.
It's true, and luckily that will turn into a cold front that might push down and give us a little bit drier conditions too.
Yes, definitely. And those, we're going to be getting closer to fall, so we're going to see a lot more of those.
I'm hoping so. You don't want to really go trick-or-treating and sweating and being gross.
Exactly, especially with all those costumes.
No,
and I know I wear a wig and I just start sweating if it's too hot outside.
Yeah, we want more of these stationary fronts to turn into cold fronts and move on south, and I'm sure most of campus would agree with that. But a lot of stationary fronts are affecting our weather. What about the rest of the place?
Thanks, guys. It's good to talk about stationary fronts like that, especially when they are as relevant as they are now. But actually, let's take a look at some of the effects right now. Going over to Siesta Key, we see some little bit of overcast and precipitation going on as that system moves onshore, and we continue to see more and more activity in that region. Then over here in Alligator Point, things are looking cloudy but relatively sunny compared to what we saw just a second ago as the air continues to transition and we see more drier conditions into the next few days. Right now in Tallahassee, 89 degrees, so things are still a little bit warm, but we are seeing a little bit of a cool down. And 87 in Jacksonville, they're seeing overcast. Down there in Fort Myers, there's the rain once again as the system moves onshore, and we see that rain continue to develop. 79 West Palm Beach, 78 Miami, with rain developing there as well. This gives you a pretty good look at what we're talking about. It's moving off towards the Atlantic right now, bringing precipitation onshore. Right now, Tampa's seeing it move farther south. Fort Myers is seeing some precipitation as well. And this is going to be the big playmaker, at least for the next few hours, in the Florida Panhandle. But then moving on to, see, we have a little issue here, but we can take a little better look at things. Orlando is seeing a little bit of precipitation. There we go. All right, pop-up showers going on right now regionally near Tallahassee. Over there by Apalachicola, it's pretty dry, not a whole lot going on. These are just sea breeze showers as precipitation and moisture moves onshore and meets the stalled front we were just talking about. More around Marion County, moving north of Ocala, we see a little pop-up shower, just more precipitation from the sea breeze. So this is the story till we get down south. Now Fort Myers, there's a better look at that onshore flow, and this is going to be bringing the rain throughout South Florida for the next couple of hours. Down there in Miami, seeing the showers move offshore, and then Fort Myers seeing them move south towards Naples. And we move up to Orlando. It's pretty dry in Orlando for the time being, as most of the activity is staying southward, but see a little bit of pop-up showers right now by Daytona Beach. And get a better look at Tallahassee, the capital city. See a few showers moving in from the northwest. Quincy seeing some rain right now, seeing not a whole lot going on though for the most part. Taking a look at tonight, 69 degrees is our low, so finally dipping into the 60s into the forecast. 75 degrees in Tampa, 76 in Miami, so still pretty warm down there, but just what would be expected in those southern regions of Florida. 74 in Orlando, 68 in Jacksonville, so finally seeing the 60s come into the forecast as we move towards Clemson and the game day. But right now, tomorrow is still going to be relatively warm. When we say cooler temperatures in the next few days, we mean not 98, but more like low 90s. So 93 Tallahassee, 91 Orlando, 90 Miami, and 90s around the board. But for right now, we're going to take a look at things with Braden. Braden, what can you tell us?
Jake, we are going to go into your tropical update, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Let's go into your storm name, see where we are. Tropical Storm Edward, Hurricane Edward, actually, still out there. It was a Category 3 hurricane, first major hurricane of the last 2 seasons, which is pretty interesting. What you don't see on here is Odile, and that is because it is an Eastern Pacific hurricane, and these are just names for the Atlantic Basin hurricanes. So we are going to talk about Odile. We're also going to talk shortly about another tropical storm out in the Eastern Pacific, which may not do much as Odile did, but still might make an impact. Here is Hurricane Edward, currently a Category 1 hurricane, has weakened a decent amount over the last couple of days, which has been good, still making its way out to sea. Not going to be a big impact for us, but as you can see, winds sitting at about 85 miles an hour, moving to the northeast at a pretty decent clip, 23 miles an hour, and we're going to put this into motion, and you can see it's going to move out, and you know, by Wednesday into Thursday, Friday even, not even going to be a tropical disturbance anymore. It's going to do a little loop-de-loop, but it's not going to do much here. Here is what we are talking about now. Tropical Depression Odile, still not a tropical storm anymore, but still quite a significant impact into Arizona and New Mexico. It made landfall near Cabo San Lucas, made a second landfall right around here in Mexico, making its way up into the States with all that rain. We'll zoom in. And you can see, while rain is not coming down at a decent clip, these bands just keep coming, one after one, one after one. And these bands are going to continue to make their way through as the center of circulation slowly makes its way up to the northeast. Now let's talk about slowly. Winds down to 30 miles an hour, almost not even a tropical system anymore, but that doesn't change the impacts that it's going to make over the next couple days. As we put this into motion, very, very slowly over the next 48 hours, making its way into Arizona and into New Mexico if it can hold its composure until then. However, what we want to look at now is the rainfall from Odile. We showed you this yesterday. We're going to show you it again. This is the latest model run from our in-house model. And as we put this into motion over the next 48 hours, Tucson, Arizona, looking to get up to 6 inches of rain. Phoenix, up to an inch. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, up to 2 inches of rain. 3/10 of an inch in Albuquerque, about a half an inch in Flagstaff. Now, this is desert area, folks, so we are talking about a lot of rain for a place that doesn't get much rain often, and that is pretty significant. Futurecast radar, again, if you look at it, you can see the heavy rain making its way in south of Phoenix, south of Albuquerque, into Tucson and Truth or Consequences. It is going to hang out there for the next couple days. Right down here, this is Tropical Storm Polo, and right now, not going to do much. We're just hoping it doesn't make a northerly turn into Cabo San Lucas again. Let's send it back to the desk, though. We got a taste of fall. Is it staying? Well, I guess I'm going to hang out here for just a little longer. Let's talk a little more about Tropical Storm Polo making its way up possibly into the northwest. We are having a couple technical difficulties. We'll get you back to the desk as soon as we possibly can. And there we are.
There we are.
There we go.
Victory. Well, we don't have to worry about tropical systems here, but
Definitely not.
we were doing our fall dance. This is the leaves falling, practicing just for this occasion.
Yes.
So fall.
Fall officially starts September 22nd. That's next week.
Next week. So we're hoping to get some of that cooler, drier air into here. Don't know if we actually will, but I guess we'll find out.
Yes, we will. That'll be so nice when we have to walk to class.
It will be so nice not having to sweat.
Are we going to be seeing any fall temperatures, Jake?
Well, you could say we've already seen a taste of it, but we haven't seen true fall temperatures right now. We're still sitting in those upper 80s and lower 90s, so it's still pretty warm out there. But the good news is things are going to be getting drier for the next few days anyway. The rain's out of here, and it's going to be clear for game day. So we have about a 10% chance of rain. Those are going to be scattered showers, but for the most part, things are expected to be pretty dry on game day as we go ahead and take on the Clemson Tigers. But right now in the capital city, 89 degrees with 56% humidity. Those values are going to continue to drop as this front progresses through and we see drier and cooler. Notice not colder, cooler conditions. It's still going to be relatively cooler than what we've been seeing, but it's not going to be 75, 70s like that. Not yet, at least for our highs. And then 89 Tallahassee, 87 in St. Mark's. This is what I was just talking about. So things are a little bit cooler, but still almost near 90. We are at 90 in Monticello, 86 Thomasville, 86 up there in Bainbridge, staying cooler down by the coastline thanks to the onshore flow. But if we take a look at the big playmaker right now, moving onshore towards Orlando down south, this is the frontal boundary that has recently stalled, and it's going to turn into a cold front for us. So it's going to be bringing colder temperatures for us over the next couple of days as it is making rain for us right now. And take a better look at how things are going to be progressing. It's going to just kind of almost like a backdoor cold front. It's going to be sweeping in, bringing in some cooler temperatures like upper 80s, things like that. Our rain chances are going to drop because things are going to be drier, but things are going to still be, you're going to have to keep an eye on the rain chances. We're talking 10, 20% until later on in the week, and then we'll see things rise back up into 40, 50%. Right now we see, or as this thing moves on through, we're going to see for the beach forecast anyway, things are going to be looking okay. A UV index is at 11, so it's going to be pretty intense in terms of you're going to wear your sunscreen if you're heading out to the beach, and the surf's not going to be fantastic, 1 to 2 feet, so decent day to head out to the beach. In terms of boating, though, it's going to be a good fishing day. The waters are going to be pretty smooth, but once again, surf 1 to 2 feet with sunset occurring at 7:39 p.m. For tonight, 69 in Tallahassee, so things finally dipping into the 60s while we're talking about fall-like weather. Then down there at 70 at Carabel, things are going to be a little more moderate by the coastline. And Monticello, 69 degrees, 66 in Thomasville, so seeing 60s all around the board, including over here in Perry and Valdosta. But for tomorrow, while we're going to be moving ahead with the day, it's going to be a clear morning, 70 degrees, so it's probably going to feel pretty crisp out there. It's going to be should have lunch outdoors, just like it says. It's going to be a pretty nice day out there. 86 degrees, a few clouds, but relatively sunny. And then why not have dinner out there too? So the week ahead, taking a look towards the Clemson game, 90 degrees on Thursday, and then over there versus Clemson, 10% chance of rain with temperatures dipping into the high 80s with our lows in the upper 60s throughout the rest of the week. But guys, let you give us a little more info about game day over at the desk.
Yeah, that football game on Saturday versus Clemson means fall in football.
Game day, game day.
Whoop.
Game day is coming, and we're excited, and we're even more excited for the drier air that will be here.
Definitely. It's going to be a beautiful day for college game day. Not going to be too hot. I'm not going to sweat standing out there. My war paint's not going to fall off.
Nope, we're going to be just sitting nice. At about 8 p.m., probably going to be in the, I would say, upper 70s to low 80s, as we do have a high of about 85 degrees.
So in other words, perfect football weather.
Perfect football weather at night. It'll be cool and drier air. It'll be beautiful outside.
My hair won't frizz.
Yeah, your hair won't frizz. That's great.
So looking at the 7-day, the week ahead, you see that Saturday with that 10% chance of rain versus Clemson, which is what we've been talking about. 89 degrees, 67 later in the night.
It's going to start feeling like fall soon, but if you really want to get in touch with us, you can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FSU Weather, and also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/FSU Weather for all your local updates. And you can, of course, always watch us anytime on livestream.com/FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Connor Dacey.
And I'm student meteorologist Rebecca Bennett.
Practice your fall dance. Fall dance. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in. Woo! High five.